Tonight, the man who changed the world, Nelson Mandela, dead at 95. From presidents to superstars, how they paid tribute to the legend. No end to the spy games, Tony Abbott's message to Indonesia. The supermarket giants agree to a truce on big fuel discounts. And Captain Clark's mighty century as Australia takes charge in Adelaide.
This is 9 News with Georgie Gardner.
Good evening. The champion of the anti-apartheid movement, Nelson Mandela, is finally at rest. The prisoner who went on to become a president died this morning, aged 95. He was surrounded by his family after months of illness. Mandela was a man of destiny who literally changed the course of history. And tonight, the world is paying tribute.
Within the last hour, the first memorial service in Cape Town for Nelson Mandela. Archbishop Desmond Tutu told the congregation, "Don't wallow in our abundant tears. Celebrate his life."
Thank you for the gift of Madiba. Thank you for what he has enabled us to know we can become.
Nelson Mandela, the man who transformed a nation and moved the world, died at home in Johannesburg. It fell to South African President Jacob Zuma to make the historic announcement.
Our beloved Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, the founding president of our democratic nation, has departed.
It wasn't long before crowds hit the streets around Mandela's home.
It's tragic, it's sad, but at the same time I think we should celebrate what he has achieved and what he's given us.
In South Africa, it felt like a member of the family had died.
Our nation has lost its greatest son. Our people have lost a father.
Prime Minister Tony Abbott was on radio when the announcement was made.
He is now at peace.
I guess the impression we get of Nelson Mandela is someone who suffered but was not embittered but ennobled through that suffering.
The world was soon mourning a towering figure of the 20th century.
Tonight, one of the brightest lights of our world has gone out. Nelson Mandela was not just a hero of our time, but a hero of all time.
Nearly 3 decades behind bars, a prisoner of apartheid, he walked free of bitterness, vowing to unite South Africa.
I stand here before you, not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people.
It was 1960, the Sharpeville massacre, the moment Mandela decided to take up the fight.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks.
Mandela had originally been sentenced to hang for sabotage. His legend soared with this speech to the court.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society. If it needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Mandela's life was eventually spared. Instead, he served 27 years on Robben Island, the world's most celebrated prisoner, number 46664. In the early days, allowed one visitor a year, one letter every 6 months. But every year his stature grew and millions rallied for his release.
Southern Africa needs Nelson Mandela. The world needs Nelson Mandela.
His release in 1990 transfixed the world.
I must confess I'm unable to describe my emotions.
His grace and humility, Mandela was the ultimate symbol of dignified resistance, even returning to that cell many times.
I didn't notice that it was so small, because you had your bed here, and as I say, it was almost a little, about 3/4 big in relation to this.
As a token of respect, South Africans, black and white, used his tribal name, Madiba.
This is my first Christmas
Yeah. And New Year in 27 years.
In the years that followed, he led the ANC to South Africa's first all-race elections.
I feel today I'm a human being in South Africa.
I was even screaming.
You were screaming in there?
Because I was so happy.
The man once isolated from the world was the country's new president.
Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another.
His swearing in testament to the esteem in which he was held around the world.
It is marvellously satisfying to be here today.
Mandela's years in power were anything but easy. Entrenched racism was a stain not easily wiped clean. The country battled the twin plagues of poverty and AIDS. His own son died of the disease. In 1995, a masterful move by Mandela. He embraced the lingering bastion of white rule, the Springboks. He visited their camp in the lead-up to the World Cup.
The Australians have reached the top, but we have not. And that might be decisive tomorrow.
And the final that united the country, a victory over the All Blacks, and it seems over apartheid as well.
We had 65,000 South Africans here today, tremendous support.
David, we didn't have 60,000 South Africans, we had 43 million South Africans.
Chester Williams was the only black player in the team.
Winning that Rugby World Cup obviously brought the people together, the nation together, all cultures interact with each other, and that was the great thing of it. And we must, I think at first we didn't understand what we were trying to achieve out of the World Cup. We probably thought as players, we just want to win the World Cup, but there was a bigger thing behind it, and that was to unify the country. And we did well by doing that. But we couldn't have done that without the support of Nelson Mandela.
Mandela went on to be the most potent force of peace in the world.
We come here to celebrate the new South Africa that is giving peace and prosperity to all its people. And we come here to celebrate you. We come here to celebrate Nelson Mandela.
He was worshipped by presidents, by princesses and the Pope, even pop stars. A visit by the Spice Girls. He was able to poke fun at his own celebrity.
You know, these are my heroines.
And he's our hero as well.
His marriage to Winnie Mandela ended in divorce. He would find happiness again with the former First Lady of Mozambique, Graça Machel. 5 years ago, Mandela, frail, just able to walk, signalled the end of public life.
After nearly 90 years of life, it is time for new heads to lift the burdens. It is in your hands now.
His was a long walk to freedom, and from the world, there will be a long goodbye.
We've lost one of the most influential, courageous, and profoundly good human beings that any of us will share time with on this earth.
It's extremely sad and tragic news. We're just reminded what an extraordinary and inspiring man Nelson Mandela was. And my thoughts and prayers are with him and his family right now.
Mandela once declared, "I am not a saint unless you think a saint is a sinner who keeps on trying." So sainthood might have to wait. At least he's destined to be ordained by history. The first president of a free South Africa, the man who lit a flame for a new order. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
The life and legacy of Nelson Mandela is being celebrated the world over. From political leaders to the biggest names in sport and entertainment, there is widespread praise for the man who gave up everything to help millions.
A giant in life and death, and today cricket honoured Nelson Mandela. Not South Africa, but Australia and England, calling a minute's truce in their Ashes battle to remember the man who transcended all the divides of life, race, politics and sport.
In '94 he came to one of our tour games and we all lined up and he walked along and shook hands with everyone and he had the big-brimmed white cricket hat on, and it was, you knew you were meeting a great man, and you knew what he meant to the people over there.
And if you could meet anyone, the name Mandela always ranks highly.
Nelson Mandela was my hero, and he was a hero for the ages.
Former foreign ministers to prime ministers, their encounters inspirational and unforgettable. Malcolm Fraser first met Mandela in his prison cell in 1986.
The first thing Mandela said to me, standing very tall, very straight, looking me in the eye, "Mr. Fraser, is Donald Bradman still alive?"
He returned later with a bat signed by the Don.
If we had 3 and 4 Nelson Mandelas to scatter in critical places around the world would be a safer and a more secure and more peaceful place.
Former Foreign Minister Gareth Evans' meeting took place in 1990, 3 days after his release from jail.
Simply the most impressive and decent human being I've ever met in the course of my public life.
In the same year, Nelson Mandela visited Australia. A political leader who was treated like a head of state and adored like a rock star.
Oh my God, I'm so happy, I'm so pleased to see Mandela.
He was 72 then, and it was a whirlwind 3 days.
The way I have been received in this country makes me feel like going back to jail for another 27 years.
With trade sanctions and sporting boycotts, the Hawke government helped lead an international campaign against the South African regime.
Because apartheid was sinful, evil, and we had a responsibility to use our influence to do what we could.
Today, Bob Hawke called his friend the father of democracy.
27 years in the prime of his life, incarcerated, and yet he was a huge enough man to say, well, I've got to put that behind me. I can't live in a past of hatred. He said, I've got to look to the future.
And while Mandela brought political freedom, he also brought good fortune. On the way to ruling the rugby world in 1995, his Springboks overran the Wallabies in the opening game.
I met him twice on the rugby fields, and both times the Springboks played at another level.
And that was the man, an inspiration for a team and a nation. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
Immense crowds are gathering outside Nelson Mandela's home to mourn their former leader's death. Sky News reporter Alex Crawford is there and sent this report.
This might seem strange to people in the West, but when I was talking to a lot of the people here who have spent the whole night here, they said this is how Africans react at weddings and at funerals. They sing. This is how they show their emotions, and you can see there are many people here who've stayed out through the night, many more who have come this morning as well, who want to show just how much Nelson Mandela means to them. And although the crowds have thinned out this morning, it's still very early and we're in the holiday season here in South Africa. There are plenty of people here, and even when they're singing, some of them have got tears rolling down their cheeks. So I think there's no doubt that his passing, his death is going to have a big impact on the psyche of South Africa.
Alex Crawford reporting, and tonight we'll bring you a 9 News special, Nelson Mandela, Warrior for Peace. Peter Stefanovic looks back at Mandela's remarkable life and his legacy, and that's at 7:30 right here on 9.